I did not know I was going to be the first person shown in the pilot, because it was just a pilot at that point. And HBO was this new thing. I remember thinking at the time, oh, what a shame it's not a network show, you know, HBO, what is that, you know, but Sarah Jessica Parker's doing it, and she's a big star. And, but yeah, I had no idea that I would open the show until I got the script at the, just before the table read, when we all got together as the cast and read it through, and it was like, huh, okay. I'm the first person in it, but Sex and the City wasn't this iconic thing yet. You know, it was just, you know, a pilot that, you know, who knew at that point where, if it was going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, you were also the first woman to have sex on the show, on Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Were you hesitant about taking on that role? Because especially then, sex wasn't on TV that much.
No, I was young. I mean, I was 25. I was half the age I am now. I mean, I was really excited and nervous. I was happy it was a female director. I was happy it was a show about a woman, written by a woman. You know, Candace Bushnell was a big part of it. And but yeah, I was nervous. And I remember Susan Seidelman, who I was very excited to work with, because she had directed Desperately Seeking Susan, which, you know, I was the biggest Madonna fan in high school. And she said, it'll be in silhouette, don't worry, you'll be protected. And I felt safe. But I was, you know, very, very nervous to, you know, disrobe. And, you know, I didn't know it would become this big thing. It wasn't until years later, actually, my cousin in Australia said, Sarah, do you realize you're the first person that had sex in Sex and the City? I was like, oh my God, you're right. Yes. Well, if I do nothing else, that's something.
It's a good accomplishment.
You know what? It's better than a kick in the head.
I love that. Your character, Elizabeth, got brutally ghosted. What did you think of the storyline, and where would you like to see the character now? You
know, ghosting, yes, my character was ghosted, and ghosted wasn't even a term back then. And I think if it had happened now, I mean, back then, women would sit in cafes, like in the pilot, and sort of whisper about these toxic men, and, you know, why do they do that, and why don't they call us back? And now they're called out, you know, now they're called out in the workplace, they're called out on dating apps, I think. They're, you know, it's not okay to not call someone back, whether you're male or female, frankly. What would I like to have happened to Elizabeth? I think she moved on and probably ran a company and, you know, met someone less toxic, maybe. Or maybe he came back around. I'm not sure. I haven't lived out that fantasy yet, but yeah, who knows?
Do you remember what your audition process was for this? I mean, was there hype around it?
I don't remember there being hype, because this was pre-internet. I mean, there was no social media or, you know, I remember my agent at the time said, you're listed in the breakdown as being cast alongside Sarah Jessica Parker. And that was massive, you know, and I still have the fax, because we had faxes back then, of, you know, they were looking for these characters, and the people cast already was Sarah Jessica Parker and Sarah Wynter. I was like, oh my God, that's terribly exciting. I had been auditioning for everything. I was doing voiceovers, I was doing commercials, I was, you know, trying to get any experience I could, and it was a massive, massive break. And, you know, it was shooting in New York. It was much talked about, but still it was a pilot, you know, and it was this HBO, which, you know, was new. I remember Kim Cattrall at the table read, when we would finish reading, she went, 13 more, which in network is, you want to be picked up for, you know, half a season, which is 13. So that was funny. And I remember Sarah Jessica being so polite and a little embarrassed about, because she was written, the Carrie character was written so sexy, and all the stage directions where she sexily walks into a room and she oozes sex appeal, and she was just like cross, in a very good-natured way. You know, she was laughing, but it was so sort of her, you know, and she was incredibly polite on set. I remember, you know, she, and she's still like that. Not that I know her personally, but you see her in interviews and you sort of, that is very much her. She's just such a kind professional and a generous person, and a generous person on set. And one thing I remember is I said to Susan Seidelman, I said, I think my character should be smoking at the end because I've been dumped and, you know, treated horribly. And she said, no, that's a great idea, but Sarah Jessica's going to smoke because that's a big part of Carrie's character is smoking. And I was like, oh, but I think it's cooler if I smoke. But I was like, whatever, I won't smoke. And of course she became, yeah, it did become a big part of her character, smoking. Not anymore, but I do remember one day we shot the townhouse scene,
yes.
And there was a lot of security, and I thought, oh, this must be a really fancy townhouse because there's security. And what we learned was the real estate agent was played by Donna Hanover, who was then Rudy Giuliani's wife, who was then the mayor of New York City. So that was really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I would never have even thought of that.
No, and she did not want to talk about him and being the mayor's wife. She was like, no, I work on, she was working on a morning show, and being an actress, I take it. So she was on her own path and stayed on it.
I want to talk a little bit about the fashion that you wore. What did you think of your look?
I loved my clothes. I thought they did such a beautiful job. I remember they put me in a Versace dress one day, and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was hysterical that I played a journalist, and I'm in a New York City cab with Louis Vuitton, not furniture, Louis Vuitton luggage, and a hat box, and, you know, but this was 1997. Maybe I would have worn a hat on a plane at that point. I don't know. I don't think so. But I thought my clothes were pretty fun.
So did you keep in touch with anyone from the set?
I moved to Los Angeles not long. I moved to LA not long after the pilot hadn't even aired. They kept it for like over a year. And I did a movie in Baltimore. I did Species 2 in Washington, D.C., and then I moved to Los Angeles. So I didn't really keep in touch. No one had email. I mean, no one kind of, you know, I had such a great experience. Kristen Davis, I remember her coming into the makeup trailer one day, and she was like, they've cut my hair. What do you think? Someone said it looks sporty. Does this look sporty to you? I'm like, you're so pretty. No, I think you look great. I think you're amazing. And I think no one really knew what kind of a show this was. No one really knew where it was going to go. No one had any idea. And that's why it's so amazing that it ran for as long as it did, and it became such a loved, I love the show. I'm a fan. Like, I went from starting, you know, in it, starting it, to becoming a big fan, and now I watch it as a, like, you know, an older person, you know.
You're not an older
well,
person.
no, I stayed 25. No, everyone else got older. Yeah, not me. But, you know, I'm older than I was when I, you know.
Yeah.
Did you say this was 25 years ago?
25.
Wow. 25 years.
Insane.
Baby face.
Oh my God. Okay, so what do you think of In Just Like That? Everyone is talking about it, so good and bad.
I actually really like it, and I thought, you know, I sat down to watch it, and I thought, won't be the same. You know, it's not going to be the same. And then, you know, after the first episode and the second episode, I thought, no, it's not the same, but it shouldn't be the same. You know, it's okay that it's different. We're all different. We've all evolved, and I actually really love it. I actually am enjoying it, and, you know, I know there's been some press about, you know, they shouldn't talk about growing older, and they shouldn't talk about having pain, and it's like, but we all do. You know, we're all getting older. You know, we might be more preserved, and, you know, we might look better, and, you know, I read this thing recently where they had a picture of the Golden Girls, and the actresses, you know, back when the Golden Girls was on, and their ages, and just like that, actresses, and they're the same ages, and they look completely different. And I think that's kind of amazing, just to see how things have changed and see women, you know, still sexy, still amazing, smart, and I think it's all about the friendships, you know, and my girlfriends have been so integral to my life and growing up, and, you know, it's not just about the boys and the bachelors, and, you know, we're not sitting around talking about boys so much anymore, or even our husbands or boy, you know, we've got a lot more going on.